There are two kinds of goodbyes in life. The first is the loud, dramatic kind. The fight, the betrayal, the explosive ending that leaves no doubt. We are prepared for those, but the second kind is far more common and far more dangerous. The quiet quitting. It is the friendship that doesn't end with a bang, but fades into an awkward silence. It is the connection where the other person emotionally checks out, but is too polite or too indifferent to tell you. They are still physically present, but their spirit has already left the room. And you, out of a sense of loyalty or a fear of being alone, refuse to acknowledge it. So, we hold on. We hold on to people who drain our energy, who take without giving, who no longer see us for who we are. We perform exhausting emotional labor to keep a dying connection on life support, all because we are terrified of the silence that follows a goodbye, and the effort is draining your soul. This is not loyalty. This is a refusal to face the truth. The great thinkers knew that a well-lived life requires not just the courage to build, but the wisdom to walk away. Today, we learn that difficult but liberating art. We will explore why not all relationships are meant to be saved, and how letting go is not an act of failure, but the ultimate act of self-respect. Part 1. The myth of the undefeated season. We treat our social lives like a sports season, and we are obsessed with one impossible goal: to go undefeated. We believe every relationship must be a victory, lasting a lifetime. Every friendship that ends feels like a loss on our permanent record, a stain on our legacy. We think, if I were a better player, a better captain, our team would have never lost. This is a lie. The universe does not reward you for an undefeated record in relationships. It rewards you for the wisdom gained from both victories and losses. The first, hard truth. Most relationships are seasonal, not permanent. You are not the same person you were 5 years ago. They are not the same person they were 5 years ago. Why do we expect a connection forged between two different people in a different time to last forever? The championship season. Think of your best friend from college. You were inseparable. You navigated early adulthood together, sharing secrets, dreams, and cheap pizza. Your bond felt unbreakable. You were a championship team. Then, life happened. You moved to different cities, started different careers, built different families. Now, your conversations are forced. You recycle old inside jokes because you have no new ones. The calls become less frequent, filled with awkward silences. You are trying to keep a winning streak alive long after the season has ended. The truth is, that friendship wasn't a failure. It was a wild success for that season of your life. It served its beautiful and essential purpose. To force it into overtime isn't loyalty. It's a refusal to leave the field. You have to be grateful for the championship ring you earned together and have the wisdom to hang up the jersey. The philosopher Aristotle spoke of 3 types of friendships: those of utility, those of pleasure, and those of virtue. The first 2 are, by their nature, temporary. When the utility is gone, when the shared pleasure fades, the relationship has served its purpose. Only friendships of virtue, based on a mutual respect for character, have a chance at permanence. To expect every relationship to be a lifelong championship is a recipe for constant disappointment. You were 5 years ago. They are not the same person they were 5 years ago. Why do we expect a connection forged between 2 different people in a different time to last forever? The college roommate. Think of your best friend from college. You were inseparable. You navigated early adulthood together, sharing secrets, dreams, and cheap pizza. Your bond felt unbreakable. Then, life happened. You moved to different cities, started different careers, built different families. Now your conversations are forced. You recycle old inside jokes because you have no new ones. The calls become less frequent, filled with awkward silences. You are holding on to the ghost of a friendship. The truth is, that friendship wasn't a failure. It was a wild success for that season of your life. It served its beautiful and essential purpose. To force it to continue now isn't loyalty. It's nostalgia. It's like trying to wear clothes that no longer fit. You have to be grateful for the time they fit perfectly and have the wisdom to put them away. Aristotle spoke of 3 types of friendships: those of utility, those of pleasure, and those of virtue. The first 2 are, by their nature, temporary. When the utility is gone, when the shared pleasure fades, the relationship has served its purpose. Only friendships of virtue, based on a mutual respect for character, have a chance at permanence. To expect every relationship to be one of virtue is a recipe for constant disappointment. Part 2. The fallacy of appeasement. The second great lie is that if you just try hard enough, if you are just accommodating enough, you can force a relationship to work. So you can tort yourself into a shape that pleases them, sacrificing your own needs, boundaries, and peace to keep them in your life. The second, hard truth: you cannot maintain a relationship. They are not willing to co-author. A connection is a story written by 2 people. If you are the only one holding the pen, you are not in a relationship. You are writing fan fiction about one. The one-way street. Consider a friendship where you have become the sole engine. You are the one who always texts first. You are the one who always has to be flexible with scheduling. You remember their birthday, their big work project, their dog's name. They consistently forget yours. You tell yourself they're just busy or forgetful. But you know the truth. You are putting in 90% of the effort to maintain a 50-50 relationship. This isn't a friendship. It's emotional charity, and it is unsustainable. The existential philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre's work touches on the idea of bad faith, where we lie to ourselves to avoid a difficult freedom. Pretending this one-way relationship is working is an act of bad faith. You are choosing the comfort of a familiar lie over the terrifying freedom of the truth. Trying to save a relationship they have already abandoned is like trying to applaud with one hand. It is a lonely, exhausting, and ultimately fruitless exercise. The most self-respecting thing you can do is to stop clapping. Part 3. The liberation of a clean break. We fear the end of a relationship because we fear the void it will leave. We see it as a loss. But the Stoics would offer a different perspective. What if the end is not a void, but a clearing? What if it's the removal of a burden, creating space for something new and better to grow? The final hard truth: allowing a relationship to end is an act of power. It is the declaration that your peace is more important than their presence. It is the ultimate act of valuing yourself. The mentor who becomes a gatekeeper. Early in your career, you had a mentor. They were brilliant, and they opened doors for you. You are immensely grateful. But as you've grown, you've realized their guidance has changed. They are no longer building you up. They are trying to keep you in your place. They subtly criticize your new ideas. They forget to introduce you to important contacts. They want you to remain the grateful student, never the respected peer. The fear of breaking this relationship is immense. You think, but I owe them so much. So you stay, feeling small and stifled. But the moment you make the clean break, politely, respectfully, but firmly, something incredible happens. The anxiety lifts. You are no longer filtering your ambition through their insecurities. You lose a gatekeeper, but you gain an open field. You realize the relationship wasn't a support system anymore. It was a ceiling. The writer and philosopher Albert Camus spoke of the absurd, the unbridgeable gap between our human desire for meaning and the silent universe. There is an absurdity, too, in trying to force meaning from a connection that has run its course. Letting a relationship end is not a failure. It is a graduation. It is an acknowledgement that you have learned the lesson, and it is time to move to the next classroom. You cannot start a new chapter of your life if you keep rereading the last one, so give yourself permission. Allow things to end. The goodbye might be painful, but the peace that comes from no longer forcing something that is broken is one of the most profound freedoms you will ever experience. When you clear out the dead wood, you finally give the new seeds room to grow.